Hi everyone, my name is Beryl. I'm just here today to have a chat with you and know how you are doing, and just to encourage you today that Jesus is still on the throne. You might be going through a lot of issues of life, but the Bible tells us in Philippians 4 verse 6 that do not be troubled with anything, and in thanksgiving and supplication make your request known unto God. So there are things that we worry about, and actually really there's nothing you can do about them. Like if today I start worrying whether I will live to take care of my family, people who have got the children, that has always been our worry a lot, long life. But the Bible tells us in the book of Psalms 91, the last verse, that God will reward you with the long life and divine health. So your work is to trust in God and to have faith, because without faith you cannot please God. So many people are worried today. People even are worried because you see people around you getting cancer. Will I get cancer? They have a friend of mine, a very young child, got leukemia from nowhere, and it's not in their bloodline. So then you ask yourself, what did you really do to God that you're just here and everything is just going smooth? Watoto wa Mungu, I want to tell you, trust in the Lord. Trust. Blessed are those who put their trust in the Lord. They don't put their trust in their chariot, in their papers, in their bachelor degree, in their masters, in their PhD. Trust in the Lord and let God guide you in everything you do. My heart today, I wanted to speak a lot of people who are worried. How will I eat tomorrow? Where will I get food? But the Bible tells us even the birds that fly up, they even don't know what to eat, what they will eat, but God provides. It's the same God that will provide for you. If you are looking for maybe a school fee to pay for your children in school, and you are really worried, you're already in the second time, and you're wondering where will I get money, trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord. Have faith in the Lord. There are so many instances that God supplied, and sometimes I would wonder, what was that? Actually, that was really God. I remember when I was young, when I was a Gen Z, and I just finished my college, and it was my first time to move to Nairobi, and I got a job, and I got a bit serious with church because I got saved through a friend. Hi Tabitha. So she used to go to a certain church and she introduced me and I got saved. So the day I got saved, hell broke. Hell broke. So things stopped working. Nothing was working. At work I was getting a lot of challenges until I was out of work. But I kept the faith burning. I kept praying. I used to pray. I can assure you guys, I used to pray. I don't know, but I think God also put it in my heart to pray, because the Bible commands us. The Bible does, you must pray without ceasing. So I used to pray a lot, and I don't know, I can assure you, God just used to provide. And before I knew it, I was back to work, to another employer. And I would say even growing up as a child, if you look at me today, and even children of the same mother who are growing, when they grow up, everybody takes their lane. Kila mtu anachukua njia zake, na hizi njia zinatengenezwa na Mungu, because it comes in Samuel and tell 1 Samuel that before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you and I made you a prophet. So Samuel is not even yet born, but God has already made him a prophet. So growing up as a young girl, of course I grew in the village. My dad had passed on so long. I remember even during the burial, I was breastfeeding. I think I was 2 months old, so tiny. I wish I could get that photo and show you. So then we grew up in a family of 9. Where we came from, our parents used to give birth to a lot of children, So I was the 8th born. But then my father passed on, and things were not very easy. But I thank God, because I think from class 4, I was just that bright student. I performed so well, and in my class 8, A-level, I got a sponsorship from some white guy from family, from one of the teachers, my mom's friend, got that from me. So from class 8, everything was catered for. Going to Form 1, all of my fee was catered for. It was being paid, I think, class 6, class 7, and these people would bring shopping and all that. And to Form 3, when I was joining Form 3, my mom was very unwell. I remember when my mom was coming for visiting, I was in a boarding school. My mom was very sick, and it really troubled me. Yeah, and I was doing my 4th form. Until now, they came and sat down and decided to take me to a boarding school because it was really affecting me. You may remember, this is the person I grew with. I never saw my dad because my dad dies when I'm very small. I've just been shown pictures. So this is the parent I knew, and then I would see her shutting down, and it was so painful. And that is the point my mom got saved. My mom got saved around that time, around 2007, 2008. And there was a turnaround because my mom says that she just felt some heaviness got out of her. And my mom has lived long to declare the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And we really thank God for this milestone. Actually, even when I was doing my 4th form, we really didn't know, but God has been faithful. So whatever you are worrying about, God says He's the father of the fatherless and the husband to widow. I can assure you, since my father died, we went through a lot. I can tell you a lot because I was there literally with my mom for all that time in Shands, and things were not easy. And of course, by then I was young, I was not saved. I got saved in let me say I got saved in college, because that one of high school where they call you to get saved, you're just going because your friends are going. But when I got to the vocational college, I was doing a course medical. That is when now I met Christ, and my life changed, and I don't regret a lot. And then when I came to Nairobi, where my first job, I just finished college like this. It took me like 2 months and I got employed. Can you imagine? That's the faithfulness of God. This is a kind of testimonies I'm giving. So I come to Nairobi and I get employed in a hospital and I start working. And now, since I got saved in college, there was no time to go to church. For people who work in medical, God is also a service to God. So I used to, actually, I never had an off on all Sundays. I used to go for my off on Tuesdays. So I never go to church. So then I moved to an estate within Nairobi, and I met this friend of mine, and she introduced me to her church. To her church now, they used to have a Wednesday service and a Saturday service. So I would attend those because most of the time Sundays I was working and I was off on Tuesday. But you might find on Wednesday I'm leaving job a bit early at 4, and their service was in the evening. So that is how I got grounded in the word. And then I lost that job, and I think it took me around 3 to 4 months. Then I got another job. Another job again, of course, is still medical. There was no Sunday. So Sunday was, but God kept talking to me that I want to use you, and I was saying, now what am I supposed to do? I went to the third employer, still the same up to now. Sometimes I work on Sundays. You know, with medical, you can't say hospitals will be closed. But God has been faithful. Even at that, any slight moment I get, I will always be in church. I cannot tell you any day that I've missed church. Since it has taken around 10 years today, let me say 15 years. If you see me not in church, I am working. I've never missed church. My relationship with God grew and grew. And I also want to tell you that even within my salvation, I've also met those people who would want to destroy you, even within Christian fraternity. So be very careful of people you meet around you. Be very careful and have some discerning. Sometimes I would ask God, why did I pass through all this? And then I needed to pass through that because of the call that was ahead. By then I didn't see it, but now it is very clear. So if you are there and there's a call of God upon your life, you will just see things happening. Kuna venye vitu ziufanyika, and sometimes you sit down and you say, am I that so special? What is special about me? Because sometimes I see some fight that God is fighting and wondering, God, you really did that to me. Why? I was not the best. Why would even God want to use somebody like you, like just a mere you? And there are better people who can be used, you know, wakina Sinach. But God does not reason like men. Because God comes to Moses and he tells Moses, I want you to go and deliver my people. And Moses would say, who am I that Pharaoh will listen to me? Pharaoh would not listen to him as a human being, but God tells him that he should go. God will be ahead of him. And when he's now questioning God a lot, then God decides to send Aaron to help him. It's not like God could not change his voice, because he was saying he's a stammerer kind of. But God was able even to do that. But since there was no faith, what we need to have in our life is faith. My friends, without faith, you cannot please God. So I just wanted to give you the brief background of my story, that I've come from a very humble place, and even where I am, it's just by God's grace. Whoever knew that even one day I would sit in front just to encourage somebody that is going through a lot, because my work in this world, my food in this world, is just to do the will of the Father that sent me. You might be judgmental, say, oh, why would God do this? Have you ever met those people who have gone through a loss? And as I said, I work in a healthcare, and sometimes you see people losing their loved ones, most of their children. It can be so painful. I can assure you, even as a worker, it's so painful. I remember my last employer, before I joined the new employer, some 5 years to 6 years ago, sometimes you bond with these parents and these patients, and I created a bond with this mama. And now when she lost somebody, it broke me. I remember I just came home and I had a very small baby. I was not able to eat. Like, even for the medical team, it affects them seriously. So as we go through that daily, but in it all, God has trained me to look at the positive side. Have you ever had those stories where maybe a child is killed by the father? You see a lot of things are happening right now, even in Kenya, who has killed who. But sometimes for me to remove that pain, I look at the bigger picture. I say, this person is now at New Jerusalem. They are going to wait for the second coming of Jesus Christ. They are the ones who will usher us in. That is, if I will make it. Because the most important thing is to make it to the kingdom of God. All this will be vanity. I can assure you, the titles we have today, even if you're a pastor, you're aspiring to be a pastor, if you don't have love in it, and if you don't do the God's will, the most important thing is to end up in New Jerusalem, and don't end up in the devil's workshop, because if you end up there, it will be so bad. I would also like kindly just to tell people that always just do the right thing, even if everybody around you is doing the wrong thing and you're the only person that is doing. You see now, this world today, they have just put sin like just a normal thing. Like sometimes I look at people dressed up and I'm like, wow. And I'm a lover of worship songs. That is my food. So when I'm bored and also something is not working, I love listening to music, because most of the time, of course not secular, because secular means without God. And me, my life is God must be part of it. So I don't listen to secular songs. So when something is disturbing my mind, I just do a worship song, and I'll just get through it. I will get an answer. So sometimes you go to maybe something, you just click into a